So, so chaotic evil. Who's the most chaotic evil person you think?
I don't know, man. How would you feel that?
I think like a personification of chaotic evil to me would be like your Joker.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, he is total off his rocker. The good example is the one in the new, not new, but the newer Batman movie. He was constantly making up a new story about how he got those scars, and that's a really good chaotic aspect. You're always changing, always moving on with something else, and clearly his actions were evil. So that's a good one.
And then another example of lawful good, right? Well, what about the lawful good clergy, paladin, or church that feels like they have to exterminate everything that they perceive as evil? Because, okay, so now, right, in some instances they may actually be performing genocide, yet they're lawful good, because it's not breaking their rules. It's not breaking the laws of their land, and because and you see this sometimes too, right? In a campaign, like you defeat the orcs and you kill the orcs, and only the babies and the women are left. So, and it's the paladin who wants to stomp the little baby orc skulls, and because they're evil, they're orcs, they must be slain. Where maybe the chaotic good ranger's like, but they're babies, and then you get into the whole argument of nurture versus nature, and it just like becomes a slippery slope. Now, Ted had mentioned we play another game. We play Mutants and Masterminds a lot, and it's funny because there's not an alignment system, but they have a system of complications, right? So it's like if you're playing, if you're reading a Spider-Man comic book and Aunt May gets threatened, so that's like a complication for Peter Parker, and in the game you get a benefit for that. So, but you pick a couple complications to add a little depth to your character, and all the moral stuff, which would be like alignments in D&D, they're actually complications in this game.
So that anytime something would interrupt the game and the basic flow of it, and it's a problem for you specifically, like in that instance, Spider-Man would have the complication of family, and Aunt May, anytime she would be kidnapped or threatened, or someone would put a vague threat her way, he gets this benefit that he can use to help him later on. So I do like that situation better because it's not in any way, shape, or form limiting you in your choice of action right here, right now, unless it's specific to that situation. Now, if it's not dealing with Aunt May, Spider-Man really isn't forced to make any kind of decision beyond what the player character rolling the dice for Spider-Man, gets to choose to do.
Well, there's the motivation complications in that game are essentially like alignment traits. They're mine because it's like greed, it's doing good, it's honor. It might be loyalty or patriotism. So they come up, and then they come up in the game, and usually what happens is it puts whatever you're doing right now in direct conflict with that part of your personality. So in order to stay true to your character, it makes it very uncomfortable for you, and for you to have to do things that are difficult. And just like the name, complication complicates the situation. Where in D&D, your alignment is completely different. It's a guideline to say how your character feels about certain things. There's 9 alignments, and they're based off of the law chaos axis, which is lawful, neutral, and chaotic. And then there's the good-evil axis. Again, neutral falls dead in the middle. And then you have like this anomaly, this really weird character, the Druid in Dungeons & Dragons, who is kind of like the keeper of the balance. Everything has its place. Yes, nature can be beautiful, but it's also harsh and violent. So they kind of believe in everything, and you're playing a true neutral character, the Druid, you know, they also become like these cosmic police almost, who want to balance the scales and make sure this scale that goes four ways is always dead center in the in the middle. Even
in second edition, the druids they had to always be true neutral. You couldn't step out of that. When they went into third edition to 3.5, they said, well, you have to have a part of your alignment is stuck on neutral. So you could be lawful neutral or chaotic neutral, or you could be lawful good, or sorry, neutral good or neutral evil. So one of your things had to still be in that balancing sector, so that you could still go and off an adventure and do these other things, and not have every single decision weighed for you. I've heard.
Did I do 3 good things today? Oh, I got to do 3 bad things now.
I've honestly had a friend of mine tell a story that there was a druid in their party, and I was like, okay, we got to fight 5 on 5, and the party lays into the bad guys, or the bad guys lay into the good guys, and the good guys start winning. Well, someone pointed out, oh well, it's now 5 versus 2 or 5 versus 3, so the druid changed sides because someone forced the issue of, well, it's not balanced here. I think that's pushing it to an absolute extreme. That oh well, sorry, your alignment changed. These guys are your friends, but you need to start killing them because they were killing those guys. That's just.
Can I interject something there? That's just fucking retarded.
I agree with you. Whatever DM would allow something like that to happen is
just silly
off
and
the
stupid, right? And you'll see. And then I also I've heard this before, where other DMs are like, "Oh, most of my players are chaotic neutral," or most people. Do you know what that really means? To me, it's like it's saying, "Oh yeah, everybody at my table plays a batshit crazy character."
Well, some people view chaotic neutral as, well, I can do whatever I want, and to an extent. Yes, you don't care about, good and evil. You do whatever you want, and on that scale. But it means that with the good and evil not checking anything, it means you are just chaotic. You are so off your rocker that you can't do anything for too long, because that's pushing towards lawful. If you travel for 3 sessions, with the same group. That's not gonna fly. You gotta get off those meds. They're not keeping you chaotic.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. To me, chaotic neutral is almost like a mental disability.
I absolutely see it that way.
And the only character that can play, in my opinion, a chaotic neutral. The only player that can play a chaotic neutral character is one that seeks to play a character that's unhinged or off balanced or mildly insane.
They work well as NPCs or like a stand-in character for a session, something that you're going to be able to play and be done with by the end of the night. If you want to try and take a chaotic neutral character on a campaign, something where you're going to have session after session after session, if you're going to play it right, it's going to be exhausting on not only you, because you've got to keep somehow staying true to the character. But it's going to be exhausting on your fellow characters, because they're going to have to be reining your shit in. And it's going to be incredibly hard on your DM, because he's going to have to keep putting up with your bullshit. Because you're not right in the head. You're not able to just, function and travel and stay true to whatever the mission, the quest, the campaign that you're trying to push for.
So, okay, chaotic neutral. You play a chaotic neutral character if you want to be bipolar.